Oh, we got Johnny Young.
Eric Stewart, guys.
Come on.
Lucky.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question to start off. Ash?
What is your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, Pikachu. I really can't say anything else. I love Pikachu.
I actually, Squirtle was the first one that I got to voice, so, and I liked the, that's right. So, I gotta say, it was
Squirtle game.
And we occasionally would get a chance to hear some of the track without any dialogue on it, and I think the woman who plays Pikachu is so amazing that you could listen to the whole episode and what she can do with just that. Yes?
Once again, for both of you, which voice for either anime would you say was the hardest for you to actually keep going?
I'm just being a gentleman by letting you answer both of us questions first.
Thank you.
Well, I do live in Nashville now. Oh, I'll just, you want to start? I think, it's funny, when you do multiple characters, sometimes on the same series, you have to constantly keep trying to come up with new things so that you can keep working, because otherwise they think, oh, you only do that voice. So every once in a while you'll make the mistake of choosing some register that's painful, thinking that character has 4 or 5 lines a show, not like 100. I would have to say on Dinosaur King, when I played Dr. Z, it was, Dr. Z was off there and crazy and talking like this all the time. And he was yelling all the time. In the audition, there were subtleties. There was like some funny little, asides and things like that. But once the show started, and you look at the script, and it was like, oh my goodness, that was tough. That was a tough gig. And I rarely say I won't work for longer than certain hours if they book me for things. With Dr. Z, I would ask the director, can we do like 2 hours tops? Because I'm gonna lose my voice. So there you go.
I think for me, Ash was probably the most difficult to just figure out where to place it and to work on not hurting my voice to use that voice, because it's way down in the ear, kind of, and it could have gone really bad for me if it was more ear or something, But definitely that was the one where I had to kind of bring all my training in to figure out. Is that the one with Entei?
That's the one with the 3 birds.
And the 3 birds, and actually the chosen one. You had to save the world.
I really ought to watch them all again. They're sitting on my shelf. I did buy the DVD, so they take up less space on my shelf. But they're there. When we dub something, we go through just all of your lines, your own one character, and then if you play another character, you go back and do all of those in a row. So specifically for that, I really knew more about the movie because I had more lines in it, so I saw more of it before I saw it in the theater. But half the time, if you don't have a lot of lines in an episode or something, sometimes if you don't have a good director, you don't know the arc of the, you don't know the full arc of what you're doing because you're not in it. And it's interesting to see how it all turns out. So I did enjoy, even though I seem to have forgotten it right now, which one that was. It was nicer for me to know more about it while I was doing it.
Oh, am I part of that?
If you'd like to be.
I just remember there's some great Team Rocket moments in some of those.
I just think that moment was so genuine, where everyone is helping each other out and coming back to life, and it always gets me. And plus, we still didn't really know we were working on anything that was kind of a hit at that time, and it was just pretty amazing to be working on something that would go into a theater and still not quite knowing that it would turn into this kind of a phenomenon with such longevity. So maybe that.
I guess it's 2-part. I mean, I agree with Veronica. The first one, because it was it was great to be part of. Like, wow, that turned into something huge. But the one with the I lose count. It's kind of like the Planet of the Apes movies. The one with the magician, was that the 6th one? The 6th one was the one that I got to direct. and Wayne Grayson played the magician in that one. It was fun. It was cool to get a chance to direct one of them after being on the show for so long. So I'm kind of proud of that one, and I thought that had a lot of, good moral to the story, and a good villain like that who, of course, learns his lesson. So that was pretty cool.
I enjoyed the Celebi one too.
That was a good one.
That was very good. The whole back in time.
Yeah, and with the environment, it had such a great, strong message.
And great animation in that one. That was really cool.
Obviously, I think we could probably go through and say something we loved about each one.
Especially since we were in them.
Yeah, I loved being in them.
For both of your characters, Amelia and Gallery, what would be the Pokemon they would choose?
Wow. I think Amelia would love Jigglypuff because she's so up here and she could break out into song at any moment that I think she would really love Jigglypuff. Although she'd probably be sleeping half the time, she wouldn't. She would constantly pick Jigglypuff to forget.
And I think that also leads into, I think, Snorlax.
Yeah.
I think for Gallery it would be Snorlax.
Pretty bad.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much that's it right there. Right?
That's funny.
Sort of leading off that question, what do you think Sotokaiba's favorite Pokemon would be?
Dragon.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to say what Charizard, right?
Yes!
Charizard.
Yeah.
I guess that one.
Very good.
Cool. Wasn't he in the Easily Angered? Was he in the Family Feud?
He was one of our guesses, but he was not in the Easily Angered answers. I was very surprised. Next year. So when you're quizzed, if that question comes up again, there you go.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Come on, guys. Yeah.
When you were dubbing the Pokemon movies, because I know you guys dubbed 1 through 8, which one was your favorite and why?
For me, definitely the first one. I thought the story was probably the richest story, and so full of emotion in a way. And even at the end, even when
I had no idea what was going on in the movie at all, because it was almost like it was just comic relief. We would just have some funny little moments, and I was like, "What are?" And I'd even ask the director, "What exactly?" It really doesn't matter, Eric. Just do the lines. Okay, just make it funny. Just make this scene funny, Or they would do the opposite. I'd have 5 lines in this particular film or whatever it was as James. I hadn't done the Brock stuff yet, or whatever, and I'd go. All right, so I got a couple lines. I'm ready to go. Well, let me give you the story behind this one. Let me explain. I'm like, no, wait. I got 5 lines. Let me just do the 5 lines. Okay. Because I'm sure what I'm doing doesn't really relate to anything anyway. So there you go.
What's your favorite Team Rocket moment?
I get asked a lot about my favorite Team Rocket / James line, and I think I'm a flaming Moltres.
The fortune hunters.
I got it.
I love how Team Rocket always shows up in these wacky costumes. I just love the idea that they constantly have plans, and I really love them. I love to hate them too. But they're just, it's such a brilliant comic foil to the regular, going down the path on your journey.
Yeah, well, when you have comedic, to me that's sort of like the ABCs of what's funny in many movies and many cartoons and things like that. Is there's nothing funnier to me of one of my favorite cartoons of all time growing up. And this is probably before, I don't know how many of you remember this, but Wacky Racers.
Yes.
Right, and Dick Dastardly and Muttley, all that stuff, I could care less if Penelope Pitstop won the race. I really was pulling for Dick Dastardly and Muttley because they were the funny part of the show. There was nothing else funny in that. And it's a villain you love to hate, but you don't really hate them. They're just annoying. And Team Rocket it's the same comedy. It's like, it's cool to have the serious villains, but those don't bring me in as much. There's so much more to the comedy villain.
And then, from time to time, we would get an idea of what their real lives were
Yes.
like before.
Yes.
That you felt some sympathy.
Sure.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, even James's real story. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and then when he
Rich
does
guy.
have like these emotional moments, how can you hate this guy?
Yeah.
You know, he's just trying to.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, he's got a boss that's telling him what to do.
Things we rarely see.
Very rarely see.
James is whip.
He really is.
They're like superpowers.
Who's
Kind
in
of.
the fight?
Except-
Ashton Brock
That-
or Amelia
Yeah.
Gurley?
Who would win the fight?
Who would in the fight? Ashton Brock or Amelia Gurley?
Who would in a fight?
Win.
Win.
Oh, win? Oh, first of all, Amelia would never fight
Yeah.
someone that she, is friends with.
Yeah. You're saying
about
if Amelia and Gowrie were the tag team against Brock and
Oh.
yeah, see, Brock doesn't fight. I mean, he's got his Pokemon stuff. He's more of a lover.
Yeah.
And Gowrie's got this gigantic sword. Sometimes has the sword, right?
Right.
Ends up getting broken.
Yeah, it would be like that weird magical power against the just brutal force of Pokemon.
Right?
So, I don't know, I would hate to see something like
That
that.
would be-
I think
yeah.
all four of them would be like, you know what, maybe we should just have a meal
Yeah.
and talk about this. Yeah.
You know, Brock would cook some rice balls.
And then be in some diner somewhere.
Oh, and that's how they win them over, you see, because Gowrie would be eating. Right.
Or they'd take them to Ash's mom's house.
Oh, yes.
Mine would fix up something.
That thing freaked me out.
I wish Mr. Mime lived at my house, because it would be cleaner.
That's true.
Probably. In the scenes, when all the food was
They would
definitely...
pull out a
I
rice
know.
bowl and say, look, a donut.
I know, or those things
Somebody.
talking about eating burgers, and it was all sushi. And,
Yeah.
we couldn't improv.
But you got to remember that a lot of what they tried to do with the show is to make it so that it doesn't seem specifically Japanese. I mean, that's the whole point of,
Right.
of dubbing the show. Especially once we would dub it in English, it would then get sent out to other English-speaking countries, and they were trying to find more of a universal food group than necessarily they were all Japanese, cuisine.
Cupcake, anything but donut.
Yeah, but donut. I know,
Weird.
and such a donut being such a definitive shaped food.
Yeah.
It's not like is that a muffin? No, it's got a hole in it. Oh, it's a bagel or a donut.
How would Brock fight without opening his eyes?
Well, you do know that at one point they opened his eyes, right?
Yeah.
What?
Come on now, you hardcore
It was in
fan.
season 5
I don't-
Master Quest.
They opened his
Oh.
eyes
Yeah.
and people freaked.
It was one of the episodes with Larvitar.
They freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you go online and search for Brock opening his eyes, you will see the still shot of that episode, and it is frightening. It's like, okay, how many of these characters all have the same, shape eye? And I was talking to someone, Jeff.
Changed letters since the last time I placed a personal ad.
Yep, that was a brilliant line. That was a brilliant line. That's
Yeah.
probably up there with one of my favorites, I've got to say. I think that Kathy Borland wrote that one, and some of the writers that worked at 4Kids were just really, really funny people, and really, really funny people that understood that you could, without being inappropriate, you could not just write for children in a children's show, and that you could put in some highbrow humor that was like, that's funny. And I remember one time on Viva Pinata, and I know it has nothing to do with this panel, but it was a line that we got through, as we would say, because you got to get past the standards. King Rorio, who was voiced by Dan Green in that particular episode, was playing Sean Connery, which was known as Sean Connery, and he says to his assistant, "Save the family jewels and the rest of my stuff." It's like, and it just went by, and they thought they were just talking about like his other gold and stuff like that, and it's like you appreciate lines like that. I mean, a personal ad. Do you think the original Japanese had that in the movie? I don't think so. Next question. Yes.
This one's for Veronica mostly, but what do you have, with Delilah and Professor Oak, do you have a theory on those two?
Well, we all joked around about that. but I'm sure there's nothing going on. No. You know, it is kind of funny that whenever Ash pops home, Professor Oak is always there. Or like at one point,
He's over there.
She came out of the kitchen and then he pokes his head out, and you know, it's very strange. There's definitely nothing that's ever been said about that, but they are definitely close. But it freaks me out to think about Gary, Oak, and Ash being related, so I push it right now.
And then it gets even weirder when you consider Pokemon Forever, with the whole Professor Oak is Sammy thing.
Oh yeah, that's right, with Sammy. I keep thinking of
Slutty.
Trace, but yeah. Yeah, that is kind of because his diary and all of that.
Yeah.
Close.
Oh my God. Yes. You. Yes.
So, being on an anime with kid shows and family reunions, when you go back and you sit down, do you suddenly find that all of the adults have started to drink and enjoy themselves, and suddenly Pokemon shows up on the screen and they're talking about you guys? How does your family reunion go with?
At our own family?
Yeah, your own
within our
family reunion. Yeah, how does that go for you? I mean, you guys end up being part of panels, but do you get that kind of
is my family interested in what I do for a living? No.
Yeah.
My mother doesn't even understand. I mean, she understands the rock stuff a little bit, because, you know, that's something she can grab onto. But, and especially this stuff, like even the cons, every time she's like, so where are you going this weekend? Oh, I'm going up to Columbus, Ohio. Oh, right, to another one of those things. So what character are you going as? And I was like, Mama, I don't dress up. The fans do. They do great jobs with the cosplay. So you don't dress up. What do you do there? Do you do like voices? You know? And it's like, my mother doesn't talk like that, but it's better for the story. So no, they still do not understand what I do. I think there's like 2 relatives that understand what I do and can say the name of the show correctly.
My family are actors anyway, so we don't really ever talk about, it's good that I'm working, you know, and so we talk about, you know, I'm doing whatever, and my dad even has said to me, you have the strangest career of anyone I know. It's so cobbled together, you know, or is it hobbled together? But it's put together in an odd way. And I will say, though, that my niece is getting a little bit of traction with it, because she meets different bands who liked Pokemon, and then she calls me from there and has me speak to them. Hey guys, right? I love your music. And, you know, they're like, any big points for her, you know, I definitely would call anyone. But other than that, you know, we do have a couple Pokemon at home. Like one time, I think I got a Polyworld backpack, and we have a couple things like that, but. And we have a tape. I bought an office set because I thought we'd get a lot of use out of that. But you know, ultimately, it's unfortunately it's not a job where you can only have this one job. So it's in the middle of trying to do so many other things. So I can't afford to put too much importance on it, because I still have to go out and pay my rent, you know, like that. I wish they paid me more attention.
Yeah, see, I collect a lot of crap. Like, I've got collections. I've got, you know, I've got my Batman stuff. I've got my snow globes. I've got my jet stuff. I've got and I've got all my toys and cards from all the shows. And in my man cave, I have it all displayed.
Man cave.
Right? It's just out there, right? It's really kind of cool. But what's not kind of cool is my older daughter is 12 years old, and this is how she shows off what her dad does, or one of the things her dad does. She'll bring friends downstairs to my man cave, and she'll walk in and be like, "Yeah, this is where my dad works. He does stuff down here." And they're like, "Your dad was Brock and James?" She's like, "Yeah, he was in Pokemon." Anyway, let's go. And I think that's the best, and I'm kind of like, "Hi, Kim, all right." Yep. You know, that's how impressed everyone is, you know?
How do you feel about Professor Ivy?
Professor who?
Ivy. Oh, no. Don't mention
that was such a strange story arc, and it always freaked me out whenever I had to dub the Brock scenes with the blue, like the screen green would
'cause he
turn
was so sad,
blue,
right?
and it was like, you know, and they never, you said that once again, they never address those things. It's almost like, as in your face, some of the storylines are, the thing with Oak and the thing with, you know, with Ivy, they almost leave it up to, like, just imagine. Put your own story. Like, what are the details? We're never going to wrap that up.
It's the same thing with the GS ball that
I
actually.
mean, what do you think? What do you think happened?
The GS ball was.
Yeah, but do you have a theory of what you think happened on that island?
Well, it was probably something disturbing, though.
Right?
Who knows? What about, didn't you put the lyric in the Pokemon from our Christmas album?
Yes.
What was it, Rocking with Ivy's Flock? What was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I figured he was having like a great time on that island, and then he just...
But he's only 14 or something,
right.
so, you know,
So nobody,
within boundaries.
Right, so nobody wanted to be his girlfriend, and that was the end. It was like, you know, here I am with like an island filled with women, and I still can't get a date.
You still have your story.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
All right, what else? Anybody else? Yeah.
Which, in speaking of character relationships, although I know that this might be a little dangerous territory given some of the fandom arguments about this, but you as the voice actor of both Ash and May, what is your opinion as to who Ash would actually be better suited to be with,
To
Misty
date?
or May?
Well, I have to say that if a 10-year-old was going out with any other 10-year-old, I would be disturbed by that. So,
Given about like 6 to 8 years
Maybe.
of maturation.
Given that, I think, you know, I do think that Misty in the show got the short end of the stick. She never got to really kind of be grounded. She was always after the bike. She was always afraid of things, and she was always angry and flying off, you know. So she never really got to just relax and be. Whereas May was just, you know, she's kind of taking care of her brother. She's kind of out there. She was much more grounded and kind of fun to be around because she wasn't needy at all. And so, I don't know. I would, quite honestly, I would have the feeling that they would all just remain those solid, good friends that you have for the rest of your life. And maybe you're in and out of relationships and whatever, but these are the people that you're always going to call on the phone or, you know, head back off on a little adventure for a weekend or something. But I would bet that they've traveled so much together and they have so much history that I doubt they would ever become romantically involved. That's what I just think.
I agree. I think it's a good answer.
I don't know. It would just be too creepy. And plus, then you'd have the whole thing like with Justin Bieber and Vanessa Hudgens, where you've got all the people throwing stuff at her because they're angry that they're dating. And so I think the three of them would be wise enough to just back off. Thank you. I'm best friends with Vanessa. Did I tell you that?
The chef.
I'm joking.
I do not. I'm a big gamer. But I'm a big Xbox, 360, shooter. Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Borderlands, stuff like that.
Drop in the name.
I don't, and I game a lot. I've got my original 2600. I took my Atari 2600 with games. I've got all that stuff, right? But I just never got into. The Pokemon stuff seems fun, but that's not my kind of game. I need some fragging.
I've never played the games, although my little brother had the Fire Red and
Leaf Green.
He had that, and he would show me that he was playing it, but not let me hold the console. And then my daughter has it also now, and she plays it all the time. And I'm just like, oh, that's great, and she's very busy on that, so I haven't really had the opportunity. But I may at some point.
Good.
I'm going to try. I'm not a good video game person, because it does consume me, and I don't have the time.
Every Wednesday night, I play online with some of the voiceover actors that you all know. And it's kind of funny because just the other night I was playing with Tony Salerno, who I play with every Wednesday. And if you don't know who Tony Salerno is, he played Chaz on GX, but he also directed Slayers a long time. And I said to him at some point, we work as a platoon, we're playing Ghost Recon 2, and I say, let's take that hill just for the halibut. And he goes, dude, that's like such a gallery line. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to play with those guys.
Did you guys ever like go into voices when you're on live with the mics?
We go through a lot of, not even just the characters we play. It's all a lot of voice stuff going on because we all got the headsets on, and I'm sure you guys know who Mark Thompson is. You know Mark? He's played a million characters in Register, right? So Mark's one of my gamer buddies too, and he's like a master of a million voices. But there's one guy who's not a voice actor that plays with us, who's one of the engineers. Does that mean that that's their choice, or does that really even matter? There have been great character actors throughout time that have played very outrageous personas. I approached James as if he were the third brother in the Crane family. It was Fraser, Niles, and James. There's an affectation, but that's what I did. It's like, and that sort of, that lilt and all of that stuff. And I know you guys, you want to say, well, would Ash date Misty or May, and because yes, we're also, that's part of our culture too, like who would end up together and will live happily ever after. I think that James, James has this thing. He's got an affectation. They did push the envelope sometimes with some of those things and to be more outrageous, but I don't even think, I really never thought about whether he was gay or straight or should he be with Jesse or not. They had such a great dynamic anyway. I mean, you could see the two of them just, if they were real-life people, they had a dynamic where they totally would have been friends. As much as they were yelling at each other all the time.
It's just part of...
They would totally be like, you could see them going to dinner together, going to catch a movie, maybe whatever, and Meowth sort of had to, be the third wheel.
That's right.
Any other questions? James is going away to do some theater. Can you come in and impersonate him? And I went, sure, I guess I could do that. And I'm thinking, at least I'm working, I'm doing Brock, so I know I'm on the show. I could, while I'm up there, I could fill in for him until he comes back, or if he doesn't come back, maybe I keep the job. But I didn't even think I was going to keep the job. I thought it would be 3 or 4 episodes, or however long the summer stock tour was going to be. And the way it was approached, and I don't blame the actor, I actually, because of the way it was being directed, I almost felt like the director didn't look ahead too far. And thought that Team Rocket was seriously a bad guy team, right? And I remember that first session going, no. They're like, James is very straightforward, and it's dark, and I'm like, what? And I'm looking at these characters, and I'm thinking, I'm just not getting that. You sure there's no comedy? No. It's written. I'm like. So after about 3 or 4 episodes of me filling in, and I think the first time that James freaked out or something like that, we both looked at each other and I'm like, dude, we got to start going in a different direction. So if you listen to some of the earlier first season things when I took over, James definitely evolves. And then I got that, and then I kept that role too. So it just was kind of funny to me that I got nothing and then ended up with 2 of the main characters for 10 years. So you never know.
Well, Amelia, this is more kind of a comment really than a question going off of the last thing, but that was something I noticed that was especially the case with the first season. One of the reasons why it's still my favorite